I'm Dr. Theresa Bullard, and this is Mystery Teachings. Can we heal our bodies using pure vibration? Vibrational medicine is a growing field. More people are using emerging technologies based on vibrational energy as ways to diagnose and treat various issues in the bodies. The basic idea behind vibrational medicine is that a healthy body has certain homeostasis, where the vibrations and frequencies within the body are in harmony with each other. The body should be synchronized like a symphony, and that symphony should be harmonious and pleasant. But when disease sets in, it creates disharmony. Vibrations clash and there is discord. Scientific theories, including string theory and the holographic model, align with this idea of using vibrational healing methods as a way to bring the body into greater harmony and alignment. Our physical bodies are constantly emitting electricity, magnetic energy, and biophotons. We are electromagnetic beings. We know that our brain creates an electromagnetic field that can be detected with EEG and MEG devices. Interestingly, the heart produces an even larger energy field, with an electric field that is 60 times greater than that of the brain, while the magnetic field is 100 times greater than the brain's. With today's detector sensitivity, the heart field has been measured up to 3 feet or 1 meter out from the body, although it is likely much larger. Today we have new technologies that are gaining popularity in the field of vibrational medicine. There are all kinds of biofeedback machines where we can place our hand on a plate and scan for thermal conductivity, measure heart rate variability, and other frequencies. Measuring these signals can help us to identify inharmonious frequencies in the body. The idea is that we can also treat those disharmonies by feeding in the proper vibrational signals needed to restore the system to homeostasis. Light and color are also used in vibrational medicine. Today, we are seeing more and more therapeutic applications of LEDs and light lasers. Electromagnetic energy, such as ultraviolet, visible, infrared, and other frequencies, affect matter at different scales. Photons generally interact at the atomic level, exciting electrons or even ionizing them out of orbit. Magnetic resonance devices have also been made available. It's interesting that the magnetic field of the heart extends 3 feet in all directions. This is also the range of what we consider to be our personal space within our working aura. The aura is in constant motion and it is flowing not only physical energies like magnetic and electric fields, but also the subtle energies of etheric, the elements, the dimensions, the chakras, and more. The purpose and action of this auric flow is to pull in all the energies from the spiritual realms and from the universe into and through our body. As it moves through us, it then flows out through the toroidal structure of our aura, out into our environment. Anything that is happening within our body, mind, and soul is reflected in our aura. Western medicine focuses primarily on the physical body, as if that's all there is. But in metaphysics, using the tree of life as a map or blueprint, we see that the physical world is the bottom of the tree, receiving all the energies from the Ein Sof, or the source, down through the other 9 sefirot into manifestation in the physical world. Through this, we see that the cause is almost always happening on higher levels of the tree, while the physical manifestation shows the effect. The body is receiving the imbalanced energies from higher levels. It is within our subconscious patterns, our mind, thoughts, emotions, and soul, where the true imbalances are typically rooted. These imbalances affect our choices and actions, thereby getting pulled into the body and then reflected out into the aura. We can read all of these energy systems without the need for vibrational devices. We have been doing this for thousands of years within spiritual traditions. Mystery schools train people to become healers who can sense the subtle energies within the field. Some people are born with such gifts. For example, Edgar Cayce, who was known as the sleeping prophet, would diagnose people's illnesses while in a state of trance. He would then successfully prescribe natural remedies to address the issues. But regardless of whether or not we are born with such gifts turned on, we all have these capabilities, and through proper training, we can turn them on over time. Such traditions have been around for a long time, yet now we also have technologies that we didn't have before. How can these technologies be used, and what are their limits? Dr. Masaru Emoto was very dedicated to the field of vibrational medicine. In his book, Truth of Hado, he writes, "All substances and phenomena have their own unique magnetic resonance. This resonance field is due to what he called Hado. Hado is a Japanese term that relates to the intrinsic vibrational essence. Emoto described Hado as the specific vibrating wave generated by the electrons orbiting the nucleus of an atom. But really, Hado is much more than that, as we'll see." Emoto and his team conducted many studies using magnetic resonance analyzers to identify imbalances within organs and tissues. When a harmful vibrational signal was detected, they would use the device to imprint water with a neutralizing vibration. This imprinted vibrational water was then taken as a homeopathic remedy to neutralize the disharmony in the body. However, Dr. Emoto discovered the state of the practitioner greatly affected the operation of the device and their ability to get consistent results. To get consistent results, it really depends on having a well-trained operator who could hold the right vibrational state within themselves and their mind. Dr. Emoto used water as a medium to show how our vibrational essence impacts materia. He demonstrated this phenomenon with his famous photographs of water crystals that were imprinted with either harmonious or disharmonious energies. Positive thoughts like love generated harmony, while negative thoughts like hate generated disharmony. To Dr. Emoto, these water crystals were a visual display of Hado. Our bodies are 70% water. His work shows that our words, our thoughts, and our emotions have an impact. Dr. Emoto rediscovered this, but it is not actually new. Alchemists have known for ages that the alchemist and their experiment are interconnected. They realized how the vibrational state of the alchemist affects the vibrational state of whatever they are working on. They understood the entangled nature of reality. As an alchemist took any materia, such as water or an herb or a mineral, through the alchemical stages, they understood that everything they did to it, they were also doing to themselves. There is a strong affinity between the alchemist and the object of their experiment, and every process it went through, they didn't see themselves as separate observers. True alchemy is consistent with quantum physics principles such as the observer effect and entanglement. We are all interconnected. The operator, the observer, matters. The observer and the observed are entangled together. We have to create the right state of being inwardly. Our thoughts alone can spoil the alchemical operations. Thus, we must be of pure mind and not allow emotions or attachments to interfere with our work. Then, we must be able to hold that coherent state, to have the right vibrational field for transformation to take place, regardless of the tools we use. The machine that Dr. Emoto used, as well as other technologies such as the Rife machine and various radionics devices, can be effective when used on generally healthy people to maintain homeostasis. They are capable of making minor adjustments within a mostly balanced state. However, for someone who is way out of balance and disease has already set into the body, most of these machines are not operating at the level of intensity and power needed to shift the vibration back into harmony. That's not to say they can't get there, but there are safety laws and regulations that restrict such use in many countries. For example, it's said that Nikola Tesla used his electric current devices to treat people who had various ailments. But the intensity of his devices had to be set to such a high power that people reported getting burned from the strong electricity. His treatments were effective, but most people don't want to get burned in the process. Thus, vibrational devices used today tend to operate within the safe range. They can still be helpful, but the effects are much more subtle and mostly good for maintaining homeostasis rather than treating acute disease. The body knows how to self-heal when given the right input and energy. But once the system gets too far out of balance, the cells become confused or too toxic, and the subtle energy might not work because the body's program is too confused to respond in the right way. What's more, the cause of the disease or imbalance may be happening at higher levels. These vibrational devices use physical energy, thus they can work on physical levels. But when the root of the problem is coming from higher planes, such as mental, emotional, or etheric, we need higher vibrational methods to heal the cause. Thus, we need to treat beyond the physical. So how do we access stronger methods of healing in a safe way? We've observed that all healing requires a combination of factors. First, the healer or practitioner must set the correct energy flow by bringing their energy into a coherent state. The healer or practitioner needs proper training to be able to do that and to hold the coherent state for extended periods of time. The second ingredient needed is for the client to be willing to get better. The recipient has to be ready to say yes to healing, to letting go of old ways that are not serving them, and to making the changes that need to be made at all levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. We need to shift our behaviors and lifestyle choices in order to sustain healing. The third factor is the tool that mediates between the healer and client. It has to be the right kind of tool, a tool that delivers the right kind of energy and holds a pure vibration. Many shamanic tools were used in ancient times, things like herbal remedies, smudging with sage smoke, medicine totems, sacred items, shamanic wands, and other tools made from nature. And then there are higher vibrational tools such as hermetic, alchemical, and esoteric tools created over the millennia by advanced mystery school initiates, such as Leonardo da Vinci, Paracelsus, MacGregor Mathers, Nikola Tesla, and others. Sometimes a healer may also choose not to use any physical tool other than their own ability to flow energy through their hands, voice, movements, and aura. If the practitioner is truly in touch and has higher levels of training in how to properly work with numbers, letters, and sounds, they might use holy words or words of power, chanted or toned at the right frequencies and rhythm to deliver powerful healing energy. If they have tuned their own self to be a pure vessel, they can eliminate the use of a tool and bring divinity straight in. They can direct that vibrational energy straight into the client to awaken the divinity within the client so that the client can self-heal. But this direct method only really works at full power when they can truly hold that field of divinity from the awareness of I am God serving another god or goddess. The energy they bring through might feel subtle, but in this case, that is usually because it is at such a high vibration that it is beyond our typical sensory range. The energy conducted by a well-trained healer initiate contains all levels of the spectrum, all the way from source. This kind of energy can help transmute and heal the root cause of most issues that reside in the mental and emotional realms, when the recipient is truly ready to heal. When the root cause is healed, then the body can heal. A machine or device, on the other hand, mediates physical energy. It comes through as either electromagnetic or scalar waves, And it's not pure source energy because the machine itself doesn't have the soul with which to bring through such higher vibrational energies. But it can deliver physical energies that are already here and serves to focus them or tune in to just the right vibrations needed for restoring physical homeostasis. We cannot take ourselves and our own willingness to shift out of the equation. A lot of people look to devices or to healers and doctors for a quick fix. They don't want to change anything in their life. They just want the symptoms to go away. They're looking for someone to take away the problem, but they're not taking responsibility. No true healing can happen this way. We can't look for anything outside of us to be our savior or a magic bullet to take away our problems. We must be willing to do the inner work to shift on the inner planes. As the inner, so the outer. Even if our physical symptoms get resolved, if the higher planes haven't been healed, then we will inevitably manifest the same issue again. We must move toward accessing a wider range of frequencies and at higher levels in order to make that lasting shift within the inner plane. What are some ways we can access this wider range of frequencies? As humans, we are comprised of a huge range of frequencies, both physical and spiritual. We are spirit, mind, soul, ether, light, sound, emotion, materia, and more. We are multidimensional and multivibrational beings. Since ancient times, one method for vibrational healing that has been used around the world and across cultures is sound healing. The human auditory system can perceive 10 octaves of sound vibration. That is a large bandwidth, 10 times larger than our visual capacity. Medicine men and women of ancient tribes learned to use instruments as tools to vibrate the body of the person who needed healing into an altered state, hopefully into a more harmonious state. These sound healers needed to be initiated and authorized by the tribal lineage to use the sacred instruments in such a way. And these instruments were created in a very specific and sacred way when they were intended to be used for healing purposes. It was not just about being able to play good music. The healer needed to be trained as a conduit for spirit so that they could deliver the proper vibrations required. They also needed to be able to perceive the energies of the body and soul of that unique individual receiving healing. They also needed to have an intimate relationship with the spirit of the sacred instrument. Rhythmic music and chants can very quickly entrain the brain, harmonizing the hemispheres and shifting us into altered states of consciousness to receive at deeper levels. Sound can also move and shape matter on a molecular level. This has been well demonstrated since at least the 1960s and 70s from the work of Dr. Hans Jenny and those who have followed his research in the field of cymatics. But it was known to the ancients as well. After all, every spiritual tradition around the world has some kind of creation story that involves sound. Different vibrational energies work at different frequency ranges, and these will interact with matter in different scales. When it comes to healing, we want to reach homeostasis, which is a state of balance and harmony with everything in its proper rhythm, containing the right amount of charge and so on. This requires the use of a wide range of frequencies. Health is about balance at all levels of the system. So what does it take to get into true healing? To find and maintain that balance in body, mind, and soul. To achieve such balance, we must treat the mind. This is where most of our problems really start. Rather than treating just the physical level, we need to heal our mind and soul. How do we do that? The Kabbalistic Tree of Life gives us a blueprint for life and helps us to understand how things manifest. It also gives us clues for balancing and achieving true healing. The three-dimensional tree has 4 pillars known as the 4 watchtowers. These relate to our immune system that defends against disease and negativity. This three-dimensional tree is also our DNA. The 4 pillars relate to the 4 elements: earth, water, air, and fire. And as the tree rotates, it cycles through the elements. Each element has its own cycle. For example, we see this in water as it cycles through the phases of gas and liquid and solid. Each of the 4 elements similarly goes through its own phases and cycles. They're all cycling on the planet, constantly in motion, each in a different way. They all cycle. Similarly, we go through phases and cycles. In alchemy, there are 4 major phases called nigredo, albedo, citrinitas, and rubedo. Nigredo is the process of decomposition and breaking down of impurities. Albedo is about purification and raising vibration. Citrinitas is the transmutation and enlightenment of the self, while rubedo is the ultimate completion of the great work. We are all meant to be continuously cycling through these phases in our life. Another issue we face in bringing ourselves and our 4 pillars and the immune system into balance is that most people are focused solely on the earth pillar and are unaware of the rest. 99% of our attention tends to be on earth, on the physicality of things. We are not taking into account the other elements of our being, and as a result, our pillars aren't balanced. Complete balancing of the 4 pillars would bring us to a place of consciously using our full brain capacity and DNA potential. In today's world, most people are not even using a fraction of their tree of life. We are only consciously aware of the tip of the iceberg of what is happening around us. We only use maybe 5 to 10% of our DNA to actively code for the proteins that build the body. And we have huge potential within us that is dormant and waiting to be activated. In order to expand into our full potential, we must come into balance with all 4 pillars. What are these 4 pillars of our being? Well, earth is our physical life. Water is emotion and intuition. Air is mind and thoughts. Fire is passion, will, and purpose. And in the center of this structure is the middle pillar, the seed of divinity and our direct connection to Source. Our goal when balancing these is to come into the middle, to live in the middle pillar with all 4 elements active and balanced. This means both being aware of them and living a lifestyle that supports all of them in balance and good operation. When we do this, we are healthy emotionally, mentally, and physically, with a sense of our true purpose and actively expressing our gifts and creative spark. And when we have all 4 pillars active and balanced, then our immune system will be strong. We will live in the middle pillar, connected to our divinity and accessing limitless potential. If we could harness source energy within our DNA, as the Tree of Life indicates, and as alchemists of old agree, then we could be self-healing and self-generating. We could be consciously using 100% of our brain capacity, such as depicted in the movie Lucy. We could gain superhuman abilities as our brain becomes more active. Abilities like telepathy, telekinesis, clairvoyance, and so on. They would become commonplace. Maybe we could even become like Dr. Strange, harnessing time and space. What is the key to accomplishing such superhuman feats? Well, Dr. Emoto's conclusion after all his studies and research was that all things lie within your own consciousness. The concept of Hado corresponds with what the alchemists have known for thousands of years. It is the core essence of Source as it flows into our physical atoms and DNA. This Source vibration in the physical is within our own consciousness. The key to healing and wielding this vibration within is what the alchemists refer to as the secret fire. Modern-day alchemist Dennis William Hauck says the alchemists believed that the driving force behind the evolution of matter, the connection between mental and physical reality, was fire. But this is not typical fire. The alchemists talked about different grades or types of fire. In particular, they mentioned 4 types. A Benedictine monk who practiced alchemy in the late 18th century by the name of Anton Joseph Pernetti called these 4 types elementary fire, secret fire, central fire, and celestial fire. Elementary fire is the fire we are all familiar with. Secret fire is higher consciousness. Pernetti said, this heat is very different within the generation of the individuals of the 3 kingdoms. It sounds a lot like Dr. Emoto's concept of Hado. Then the central fire is lodged in the center of matter. It is tenacious and innate in matter. It engenders matter. They called it God's signature within matter. Finally, the celestial fire is the highest grade. It is the pure power of divine will, which connects to material density through the central fire. What does all this mean? In essence, alchemists sought to harness the secret fire, that power of higher consciousness, in order to access the central fire or divine spark within matter and draw it out. They believed that through this process they could transform matter into its ultimate perfected state. Paracelsus wrote, "Know then that the ultimate and also the primal matter of everything is fire. This is the key that locks the chest. It is this which makes manifest whatever is hidden in anything." This fire must operate on the quantum level, within the zero-point field, the ether or akasha discussed elsewhere. Pernetti said it is specifically the central fire, contained within the center of matter, that produces or engenders matter. This is the smallest building block of matter. And this building block is the divine spark, the God seed, the core essence from the source, as its will touches the material realm. This central fire is a single unit or quantum of divine will, a particle of God consciousness. This particle is smaller than any other particle we know of, far smaller and of higher energy than anything current technologies can observe. It exists at the quantum scale, near the Planck length, the bridge between the quantum vacuum and the material realm, where consciousness and matter unite. On the Tree of Life, we find this central fire within the middle pillar. This is the central core of any atom. This particle of consciousness is within the nuclei. It acts as a portal through which divine consciousness enters into manifestation. It is the essence of Source within this world. It has the seed of divinity within it. This seed is something that we, as conscious and aware beings, can tap into by using our own secret fire of consciousness to reach it. This allows us to impact matter. From a quantum physics perspective, we might imagine that our thoughts send particles of consciousness toward whatever we are observing. Those consciousness particles shift the quantum state, causing the wave function to collapse. This is the mechanism or means by which we can direct consciousness to impact matter. Because those consciousness particles carry that pure essence of Source, they are directed by will, which directs the mind. Think of will as a force of creation that mediates and directs consciousness. It is at this quantum level that pure essence of Source comes together with the pure essence of physical density, thereby changing it to a new vibration and shifting its state. The shift happens when source energy and physical density connect. Through the unity of the two, spiritual and physical, transformation can happen. With just one, nothing happens. It is through the interaction and union of two different energies that transformation happens. Each brings in a different frequency. Energy from Source is a high vibration frequency. It hits the physical, which is governed by another frequency level, the Fibonacci or golden ratio. When these spiritual and physical frequencies combine, they generate a different frequency altogether. Our task is to come into alignment with the middle pillar, the core of the atom, where the fire of consciousness, the seed of divinity, resides. When we do, it becomes a quantum conscious event that penetrates the entire being. It is a state of pure bliss where the mind is completely empty. The world around feels like it disappears, and we are one with divinity embodied in the flesh. Is such a thing possible? Yes, there are well-documented cases in Tibetan Buddhism, for example, of what they call the Great Perfection or the Rainbow Body. The rainbow body is a transition state of transcending the ephemeral into the immortal body of light. This is a phenomenon where the masters who have fully harnessed their consciousness and will, after many years of devotion to their practices, are able to alchemically extract the central fire from their atoms. They draw this essence together into one unified light body while discarding any final impurities that remain. As the central fire is extracted, the energy that holds the space within the atoms and between the atoms is also extracted, and that space between things collapses. All that remains is a small pile of dust and maybe hair, teeth, and nails, depending on the level of attainment of that master. As the spirit and soul are released with the light body, observers report seeing rainbows of light. Kabbalistically, the rainbow represents the full integration of all the sphirot on the tree of life, each emanating a different color of the spectrum. Only by being aware of ourselves as spirit, which is infinite, can we do this. Only through understanding numbers, frequency, rhythms, sounds, words of power, proper use of sacred geometry, and Hado can we do this. These are the fundamentals that govern our ability to interact this level of reality. Beyond having knowledge of the concepts, we must also understand how to use them and put them into practice so that we become masterful at using them. That practice involves things like hermetic applications, Kabbalah, martial arts, ritual mastery, prayer, meditation, service, but also poetry, art, dance, passion, love, and joy in life. This is about the way we live life every day. It becomes a way of life. The only way to reach that state is by not having a comfort zone, constantly pushing the edge of progression to the next level. When we get too comfortable, we get complacent and we stagnate. When we're not progressing, we're regressing. There is no standing still. Thus, on a true path to mastery, we are always pushing our progression, getting out of the comfort zone to take that next step. Then integrate, meaning implement, so that we can become proficient with that new skill or practice, and then continuing to step forward to the next level. We can harness these energies from the inside out. We can harness the secret fire. Join me again as we explore the realms of consciousness beyond the hologram. I'm Dr. Theresa Bullard. Thank you for exploring the mysteries of the universe with me in this episode of Mystery Teachings.